Alright guys, today we're going to be going through a very spicy, juicy theory, and this one is so tinfoil hat and out of there that even myself, I don't even know whether I can believe this, but the amount of evidence for it is quite compelling, and also it all seems to fit together quite well. I could be wrong on this, but it's going to be an entertaining watch regardless, and I'm sure it's going to open your eyes and make you think about things once again. Job's turning out to be quite a mysterious character. We haven't seen much about him, but so much has been revealed with just so little that has been shown, and a great depth about his character has been revealed without anything being too specific. In this video I'm going to be detailing the fact that I actually think there is a possibility that Joe is ex-Umbrella, and there is a lot of things here that tie into this and could really show that this is actually true. And I'm saying, guys, some of this could be coincidental, but as I said, it's very compelling. So let's get right into all the evidence that I have over this.
We're gonna fix this, Zoe. You're my family.
So as many of us agreed, it's very strange about how confident Joe is, the lack of shock and trauma, as if he's already used to seeing BOW outbreaks. But we also have the fact that he wants to save Zoe, and he also says that he's her family. Now, like I said in previous videos, we could say that he's a family friend, or he is a family member that's associated with the Bakers, and so this would put him as Joe Baker. He might have another name though due to marrying or other reasons. He's definitely associated closely with the family, and I do believe he is a direct family member, and I'll get more into this as we go on. Now, I think we can all agree, if we saw somebody we cared about, and in this image you can see Zoe is very crystallized, I don't think we'd have a confident approach in the fact that we're gonna get her out of this. I think we'd be quite shocked and traumatized and wouldn't know what the hell to do. So this does set up the fact that Joe does seem to have some knowledge that is beyond the normal person, and also if we remember, Zoe did seem to have this knowledge as well. Now if Joe has a direct connection with Zoe, it's very possible that he's the one that did actually teach her all the knowledge on the serum, because even just reading some basic instructions, that doesn't give you enough insight in how to actually mix a serum up to fix the mold virus. It would require some speciality in the subject and chemistry itself, and biology as well, and we know that Joe has these skills apparently if he's so confident, and thus yes, I do think it's possible he's the one that taught it to Zoe as well. So there's another compounding feature on why he might have a background with an organization that used to deal with BOWs. This is an image I took from one of the recently revealed trailers, and it shows a pair of dog tags around Joe's neck as well as a peace symbol. At first I assumed that Joe had been in a war in the past and he had changed his perception due to suffering from PTSD or something similar, and the experiences changed him. However, I'm starting to believe, looking at this character, there's a possibility that he used to be part of some kind of special ops team for Umbrella or some other organization, and these are the old dog tags he keeps as a reminder, as well as the peace symbol to show a sign of when he changed his life around and adopted a whole new mentality. Now I know these things don't seem too solid, guys, but I do implore you to keep watching because the story just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Because of the new screenshots that were revealed, we get to see that Joe can actually box down the molded. In another screenshot we also saw that they're going to be alligators, so we're going to be taking those down, and we also know that we're going to be taking down Umbrella operatives. So Joe shows the capability of savagely beating down BOWs with his bare hands. He also shows the expertise to outsmart and also kill Umbrella operatives, and to take down creatures in the wild. This skill set seems to come from somewhere, and I'm saying, even if he was a soldier, where the hell does the capability to take BOWs down barefisted come from? There are specialists in the BSAA and other agencies where soldiers have been fighting BOWs for years, and they still require massive amounts of firearms, and even then there's still large amounts of casualties. Joe is becoming a very special character at this point, and it's very interesting. Where did he get all of these skill sets from, and why is he so confident? I mean, Ethan didn't even want to engage the molded and he was very afraid. Chris seems quite confident but also still seems to be taking it tactfully, and Joe just seems to be going in like he's a savage madman and is already used to this. Now considering the dog tags and the peace symbol and everything else, it is starting to make a little bit more sense, but come on, it's the Avidexpert channel, we ain't finished, we got a lot more to show. Now, going back to the fact that Joe's actually distrustful of Umbrella, that's already a bit surprising. He's got Zoe, who's in a very crystallized state, and obviously this organization might be able to help, and I'm sure some people just playing devil's advocate might say two things. First off, there's a bunch of soldiers around a BOW outbreak, maybe they're responsible for it, and also it is Umbrella, and considering the history in the universe of Resident Evil, it is quite likely that Joe would be distrustful of them. However, you've got to think about the fact that Joe's so distrustful and he's trying to keep Zoe away from them so much that he's now willing to kill them, and this is a breach of his pacifist ways. Remember, he has that peace sign, and this is quite interesting because the only reason I can obviously assert that he's willing to break all of his way of life now, the new way that he's decided to live on, his pacifist ways, is because he has a previous association with Umbrella and he knows exactly what they're capable of, and he's not going to stand for it and let his family die. He doesn't want Zoe to be used as a test subject and dissected on some table, and so he's willing to go back to his old ways and use his old skill sets. However, that's just a little thing that seems to fit. I've got a lot more to go on to this. If you guys remember, there was a lot of documentation and books. I covered this previously in my videos, but we've got the books from Clive O'Brien. We've also got the incident on Raccoon City in a newspaper, and these are interesting little bits that show an interest in BOW outbreaks, and as I said previously, I hypothesized that Joe had been studying on them over the years. Now, if he had actually been previously associated with Umbrella, it would make sense that he's been keeping himself very informed and up to date on all the ways that bioterrorism has elaborated and upgraded over the years, especially with Umbrella related incidents. Going back to that screenshot of the Arklay Mountains though, this is years and years before the original Resident Evil game, which again is very odd, almost as if this is showing a history of somebody that was very closely associated with Umbrella. At first we all assumed it was a neat little nod back to the game, and I've covered quite a few videos on Joe, and I'm hoping if you guys have watched all of these, you're starting to get the tinfoil hat on with me, and you're getting a little bit convinced. He seems to definitely have some kind of long-term association with them. But don't you think it's a little bit weird, considering we're talking about things inside the Baker mansion, that the Bakers can afford a mansion? It didn't seem like Jack or Marguerite had any specific skill set where they could have been earning the money to afford such a large place. And even if it was family inherited, for example, how the hell were they covering all the costs and upkeep and tax for the place, because that would have been a hell of a lot of money, and I can only assume they couldn't, so it would require someone with a lot of funds. Now, if Joe is a baker and he was with the family for a long time, it's very possible, considering if he had a history with Umbrella, that he is loaded with a lot of money and could have far paid for this. Considering the higher up the chain you go, you can be talking hundreds of millions to billions of dollars. But here's the really interesting part about it all. Do you guys remember who was contracted to renovate parts of the Baker Mansion with the puzzles that are very reminiscent of the Spencer Mansion itself? Trevelyan and Chamber Construction was contracted to make some improvements on the house, and this is just one of the renovation contracts for the main hall shadow puzzle, but I'm sure if you think about the fact that there were so many puzzles in the area, that this is just one of the renovation contracts out of many that must have been made over a duration of time. And for those of you that do not know, it seems like this company that did the renovations for the Baker estate has some connections to George Trevor, the original architect that did all the designs that are very similar to the Baker Mansion for the Spencer Mansion itself. These also happened a year after the photos at the Arklay Mountains, so I'm starting to think there is a possibility that Joe, and even maybe Jack himself, were associated with Umbrella in the past, and this would actually make for quite an interesting plot twist, and actually, it would actually start to add up with a lot more things. If you guys remember, there's some labs in the salt mines, which are also very reminiscent of Umbrella labs. Now, why are these in the local areas to the Baker Mansion, and they seem to be very established, as if they were built a long time ago, and with the contractors being related to the Spencer Mansion contractors as well, this is all starting to seem far too coincidental. Again, we all thought these were Easter eggs at first, but I'm sure you guys are starting to feel a little bit odd here, like there's something definitely more elaborate about Joe, and maybe even at this point Jack himself. I'd like to hear what you guys think about all of these facts, whether you think Joe now has an association with Umbrella or maybe some other organization. Maybe you've come to a whole new thought or conclusion after seeing all of the evidence and you thought I came to the wrong points, and I'd like to hear your thoughts regardless. Maybe you just think that I'm looking way too much into this, and possibly, I think personally myself, I am probably looking into this too much. But again, I'd just like to hear your thoughts on this, guys. I hope you're having a beautiful day as always and found this video informative and entertaining. Take it easy for now, and peace.